Well, let's get started with something very simple. We will talk about what you see in front of you. You see this pink ribbon at the very bottom of your screen, and you see it in my recording. You do not see it in your recording, and that is just as it should be. Now, this is because I, as a teacher, can enter something called the student view, where I can see things as the way the student does. So I can make sure that things are available for you. And I don't just believe it, I can also see it. So please disregard this pink ribbon at the very bottom for the remainder of this course room introduction. Now, if we look to other things that you'll see in front of you, you will notice that I have something very similar to a header where I introduce the course, and a lot of things that could be buttons, and they are buttons. Now, since there are certain limitations to what Canvas allows me to do, we do not have any hoverability where I can hover something and I get some kind of other color on it, and other stuff. And sometimes I get weird behaviors where I actually get some kind of icon behind it, even though I haven't made any difference between this. I don't know if it's because Canvas probably knows LADOC and does something extra to it using JavaScript. Now it's not because I'm unable to change it. It's because Canvas does not permit me to. So I can go only as far when I make these design changes to Canvas to facilitate for you. So please keep that in mind when you go through this. But just to make sure that you know, all of these things are not just squares with text in them. They're actually buttons. So you can click on them and you go somewhere. And we'll get into that in the future. But just during this first video, I want to talk about the interactivity, how you're supposed to interact with a page. This is also a button, in fact. It's because usually when you're clicking on icons retaining a logo, that means that you'll go to that page or that home page or something like that. And that is also the case in this case. But anyway, we'll get into that later on. Now, whenever you see something like this, do you probably see something very similar to this around here? Maybe you just have a one. So maybe we just one side, not instead of two. So I can show you. If I zoom in on this, it's going to, at some point, actually jump to the left. So it's just one column instead of two. Now, if you want two columns, it depends on how zoomed in you are. It's also something, it depends on your screen resolution. So if I hold down Control, if I'm on a PC, and use my scroll wheel to zoom out or zoom in, you see I get different, I can really be far out, and then it will be hard for you to see this in the recording, but I can also be very, very zoomed in and everything, because it's really hard to, follow along, and the responsiveness of this one is extremely limited due to Canvas limitations. And but you can choose to follow this along somewhere in the middle. It doesn't really matter if you have two columns or one column. That's something you can decide on your own, and partly you have to follow along what your screen actually admits you to do. Then there is this issue about using the Canvas app. I find that app, there's an app on the phone, which I find it really lacking. So I have not made the design to function well with these. So if you are accustomed to using the application you can find on Google Play or Apple Store or whatever, then please do so. But the links will not work properly. You will instead have to, jump around in the room during, having a harder time doing so, because Canvas hasn't made good apps. In fact, they're kind of horrible, according to me at least. So I would suggest that you use your desktop, your laptop, and you're following along like this. And if you ever use your phone, you can just go into this web page and follow along from there instead. Now, this is something I want to address immediately. What are these? When you have this white play button, it looks like a play button to the left. In fact, it's not a play button. It just signifies that if you can click on it and it drops down. It's called something called details in HTML. And if I can just click on it like this, you'll see I can expand and see more. This is crucial for this layout, that you understand that these things exist. Because otherwise you will not be able to reach the content that you need to follow along with the course. And the same goes here. It's exactly the same kind of interactivity. Now they're a bit bigger, but because they are even more crucial. So I can have examination tasks, for example, or I have activities and resources. You can see, you can click on it and it expands. Usually it's called expanding and collapsing. So you know. And that is basically interactivity of this page. You can also, of course, click on this one and jump to the very top. Now in this case, it takes you to this line up here. That is usually all that we ever need to do when we talk about interactivity, because you now understand that these are in fact links. You can now understand this is also probably a link, because I don't have to tell you that is common practice in to do just an underline beneath the text that you want to have as a link. And this may be new to you, but now I've already told you that they expand and they collapse and they show things inside, and that they are crucial for you. And you can also see this. I have a link here that actually is blue. It's because it takes you to Zoom. A Zoom cafe, so I would just want to connect that and tell you that is blue, and these are also blue. You'll find that kind of maybe confusing, that I have some that are blue, some that are purple, and at the time of this recording I haven't changed that. Maybe I'll do, maybe I fixed that so it actually comes into purple as well. I'm not sure if I'll have the time, but if I do, which shouldn't take too much time, I'll probably do it. Then you know it's not going to be blue anymore. With that said, I think I'm done with interactivity. It doesn't really take that much time to go over, but now I've done so, and I thank you very, very much for listening, and I see you in the next part of the playlist.